makes me want to sing a little bit. If I'm completely honest, I just kind of want to sing when I hear that. It is so good to be with you. I am Dr. Gina Loudon. If you don't know me, you can find out more about me on Facebook and Twitter, Dr. Gina Loudon. I'm pretty much all over the social media, and I would love to know more about you. I tried, when I was done with the show Tuesday, I tried to go through and make room for you on my private page if you requested, if I could tell that you were probably one of the audience members from Focal Point with Brian Fisher, because I am so honored to be with you, and I do so love the good folks at AFR. And in particular, Brian Fisher and his staff, the Reeds and the rest of them there in Tupelo. So I tried to make room for you. If I missed you, just let me know that. And I will absolutely make room for you on my Facebook page is what I'm talking about right now, in case you were wondering. We have been breaking this down, this whole debt ceiling thing. It is so unbelievably upsetting to me. I've called it a circus tent. I'd like that narrative to catch on. I called it that on Fox more than one time. And I hope that people will start to recognize this is not any kind of a ceiling at all. And I'm going to go ahead and have you go to the clip now on the debt ceiling, please, Jeff.
A whole year without a debt limit battle. The U.S. Senate passed a bill Wednesday to raise the debt ceiling, allowing the government to pay off its bills through March 2015. The legislation passed 55-43 with no attachments and is expected to be signed by President Obama. The House passed a similar bill on Tuesday. The bill passed despite two threats that might have derailed it, one from Senator Ted Cruz and another from Mother Nature. The Texas senator had threatened to filibuster, which would mean a 60-vote majority would be needed to get the bill through, as opposed to a 51-vote simple majority without a filibuster.
We were about to head into another crisis, frankly. But at the last minute, what happened was this, Tony. Only 3 Republicans had joined 55 Democrats to pass the bill. They needed 60.
From there, Republican leaders Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn persuaded members of their own party to vote to end debate over the bill. The New York Times writes, when it was clear that the debt ceiling increase would fail, they stepped forward in tandem to deliver the deciding votes. Other Republicans followed by changing their votes.
You know what you call that? My husband has a word for that. He sold cars in college one summer or something. I don't remember. He was just selling cars, and he was learning about the car business. And he you know, my husband's so brutally honest. He's probably not the best salesperson, if I can just say that right now. But he was so offended by one particular term they used to describe at this car dealership where he worked. One particular term they used to describe folks who walked in and you knew you could sell them anything. You call him a laydown. I remember that all these years later. I remember him telling me about the definition of someone who walks into a car dealership and you know you can make that person spend money despite themselves. It's called a laydown. That's what they must think in Washington, D.C. When you can get this to happen, the debt ceiling to be raised yet again, the circus tent to be raised yet again, with so little opposition, it's almost... Oh, it is pathetic. It's lay down. Exactly as my husband described it. Well, we are going to your phone calls right now. 888-589-8840, because I know you have a lot to say about this. 888-589-8840. Phone lines are full. First, we are going to go to Robert calling from Little Rock, Arkansas. Robert, welcome to Focal Point.
Well, thank you.
Sure. What's on your mind today?
We're just listening to the program, and I've just got to say I'm in my mid-50s. The America that I grew up in is gone. It has been for some time. There's so much political infighting and backbiting going on. Our political system is broken. The morality of our country is corrupt beyond repair, I believe. This debt ceiling debacle is just one more evidence of it. Like I said, the morality has decayed to the point where our moral compass is askew, and I don't think it's ever going to come back.
I don't know, Robert, that really anyone in this audience, or at least not many folks, probably disagree with you on that. But then you have to come to, we can't stand around and say it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. We have to come up with solutions because we're America and that's what we do. So what is your best solution?
My best solution would be to fire everyone in Washington, D.C., and replace them. Have term limits. No more using Washington as a long-term career goal. get fresh ideas in there. Start listening to the people again. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I'm a Christian, and I believe firmly in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you that I see it as within 18 months of divine spiritual intervention in our globe. And if not, we are going to actually obliterate ourselves with what's going on in the Middle East, the turmoil globally.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm so glad that you are engaged and so knowledgeable about all the issues, Robert. I just want to encourage you, though, to keep heart, because America has overcome hard times before, and God certainly has had his hand in overcoming things much larger than this problem. And as far as I know, he still sits on his throne. Thank you for your call, Robert. Deborah calling from Springdale, Arkansas. Yes, ma'am. What's on your mind today? Not hearing Deborah.
Deborah, this is Deborah. I just wanted to make a comment.
Sure.
That America is still God's country. God put America here, and because of God, we will have restoration, because the Bible says so. He is the God of restoration. And also, I just have to wonder, why did we have to wait this long to find somebody to stand up to Obama? Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Appreciate your call. Going now, I want to get you all in if I possibly can. Daniel from Dallas, Texas. That number, 888-589-8840 for your calls, 888-589-8840. I'm opening phone lines for you. Daniel, Dallas, Texas, what's on your mind today? You have the solution. I'm so glad.
No, I don't have the solution. I don't want to pretend like I'm some person who has all the answers, because that's not the person to be. But I think we should go back into the Roman times, because I think a lot of things worked really well back then. Whenever there were laws and rules that needed to be implemented, the people brought them forward. And the people said, no, that's not going to work, or yes, that's going to work. And the people actually had the solution. But what we've become now is we leave it in somebody else's hands, because we don't feel like we're qualified enough, or our opinion doesn't count, and we think that someone else has the solution to it. Well,
and Daniel, I see that as a huge cop-out, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to live under the laws, and we elect people who are pursuing their own interests. They're worried about getting elected. They're worried about filling their coffers full of money, and we have to live under the rules and the laws that they make, and we have no idea what the rules and laws that they're making are.
Yeah, and by the way, they're making rules and laws behind our back all the time. The executive orders that have come out of this administration have been mind-boggling. I mean, literally mind-boggling. On break this year, it was but a blip in the news that Obama actually signed something that said that it completely changed the definition for the 501 so that it can sort of make it so the IRS can go ahead and persecute the groups that it's going ahead and targeting. So, I mean, these kinds of things are happening all the time, and I barely even saw this in the news this year. And that happened, I believe it was over Christmas break, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
It's all being covered up, and the biggest rule in the law we have to live under is Obamacare, and everybody sees it as a great thing. Well, if you really read the law, it's going to totally transform and control your life to where you can't really even do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what we get for being lazy and wanting someone else to do it for us, as you pointed out at the beginning of your call. Thanks for your call, Daniel. Going to Donald in North Ohio. Donald, welcome to the show.
I was listening to the show there, and a lot of what I had to say was, I believe it was Robert that brought it up a while ago, and my faith in the government is pretty much diminished. We're real eager to point a finger at this one and that one, when the fact is that the last 40 years we've been going downhill. Mm-hmm. Now, Republican and Democrat.
I agree, but see, I like to focus. I really would love to focus this conversation just a little bit more on answers and solutions rather than pointing to where we are, because I don't think many people in the audience would disagree with you on that. Right. So what are the answers? How do we get back? Because becoming cynical isn't going to fix anything.
Right. Well, you're exactly right. And like Robert said, I believe it needs to be a term. You only have so many years to serve. It doesn't go on and go on. We need to pull a lot of them out of there that's in there. about all of them and start over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to do it. And another thing there, I mean, you got a lot of very wealthy people up there, and I'm sorry, but I just don't think they understand the way it is in this world for other people that's working out here. It's all for personal gain. The bottom line is we need a new government. We need some people out. It needs to be terms. Elections, it's not a matter of who's got the most money, who's going to win it. It's who could communicate.
Yeah, but the reality though is that it does take money to win elections. But I do have to tell you this: I'm grappling with something right now. I'm a huge opponent of term limits on the state level because I watched it hand our political power in my former state of Missouri. I watched it hand the power over to people that we couldn't unelect, like consultants and staffers. And so I became just an adamant anti-term limits person. I even debated one of the leading people in the country on that issue and enjoyed it thoroughly because I love civil discourse. But my husband called me on this I believe it was just yesterday, ironically, and said, I think you need to relook at term limits on the federal level. It may be our only answer. So you may be right about that, my friend. Those of you holding, I appreciate you holding. We are going to get to your calls coming up in the next hour. But first, we have syndicated radio host Joe Messina scouring the deepest, darkest crevices for stories you will hear nowhere else. So we want to make sure that you hear them here. Stay with us here on Focal Point. I'm filling in today for Brian Fisher. I am Dr. Gina, and I'm thoroughly enjoying your calls. So keep those phone lines going. And we'll be back in just a moment.